Good morning, viewers. My name is called Nasur Mohammed Buga. I'm an advocate of the High Court and other subordinate courts. I am the managing partner of Buga and Company Advocate. This is a law firm based in Arua. We offer a variety of legal services, both litigation and transaction within the region. As Buga and Company Advocates, our core vision is to deliver reliable legal service to the community. While delivering this legal service, we maintain high ethical standards in our decision-making, actions, and communication, not only to our clients, but also the community at large. We challenge ourselves to learn, to implement modern and creative solutions, and exceed all our expectations in the pursuit of this excellence of legal service. We strive to create a positive environment in the community that fosters the well-being of the community. Today, our focus is to give back to the community in terms of our legal knowledge and also as part of our social corporate responsibility to the people of West Nile. All the advocates in Buga and Company Advocates shall dedicate the whole of December to teach and give out to the community any legal related issue. And this is to invite all the community members to benefit from this opportunity, which is going to last for 1 month. And I invite all the community members to be actively involved in this show. And where there are questions or any doubt concerning any legal matter in your mind, we kindly invite you to forward the questions and we shall answer them within this 1 month period. This is an opportunity for everyone. We invite everyone. Thank you so much. We thank West Nile TV for this opportunity and hope to see community participation in the whole event. Thank you.
I'm Apang Jamal Haruna, an advocate of High Court of Uganda and its subordinate courts there too. As a firm, we, in fulfillment of our corporate obligations and social responsibilities, we do give back to the community at the end of every year ending. This year, we're thankful to the community, the management of West Nile TV for stepping in to partner with us to create awareness, positivity, and the basics of the law and matters touching the legal fraternity today. Kindly tune in every Friday at 11 a.m. for the same. Thank you.
Hello, dear viewers of West Nile Television. I am called Chandiri Yasmin. I'm a lawyer with Buga and Company Advocates, Arua Chambers. I am a legal associate in the law firm. Now, as part of our social corporate responsibility, the lawyers will break it and call it CRS. As the CRS, or as the corporate social responsibility, would like to give back to our community. And now the various way we are going to be giving out to our community is by having these talk shows and giving us knowledge about the various legal fields that may not be in our know, and we really need to know about them. So these addresses or these programs will be probably weekly on this same television, and we encourage our dear viewers to always follow up so that we are able to learn the legal aspects that probably we have been ignoring, and they are of very great importance to us. Now, today specifically, we shall be looking at land. And in land is a very wide area. It has a very wide coverage. Now, when we talk about land, the first question that anyone would always want to ask, or anyone would be interested in, is who can own land, particularly in Uganda or in Arua City, who can own land? Now, we have a constitution of the Republic of Uganda, 1995 as amended. Now, this constitution is where the ownership of land has been vested onto the people. If you get chance and open up your constitutions under Article 237 of the Constitution, it shows where now the land is given to the people. And now various other laws like enacted acts of parliament like the Land Act, amongst other acts, will also show you the various ways in which these lands are owned, or the various ways in which you can acquire ownership of land. Now, who is an owner of land, or how do you acquire ownership of land? The first and foremost and the very straightforward one that all of us know is by purchase. Now, yes, anyone can purchase land in this Uganda, but the question is, how do you purchase it? Now, we have an act of parliament called the Registration of Titles Act. It states that a certificate of title is conclusive ownership of land. So you find out that someone can buy their land and they have a title, and you having a title alone shows that you're the real owner of the land. However, now there are exceptions of the law that come in and say that your title is only going to be conclusive with an exception of fraud. Now, fraud is a very big topic that I may not want to discuss today, but let's leave it at that, with an exception of fraud. So where fraud comes in, even if you have your title with you, you will never be the owner of that land, except when court duly and fully interprets your ownership of that title, and having successfully defended you not being party to the fraud. Now, we have various tenures of land ownership in this country. How you can own land in the country. And these ownership tenures, all of them have titles. The first one is the freehold. Now, people can own land on freehold, which is the most common now in Arua. Because we have a city status, various people are now procuring titles, independent titles for their land. Now, this land is owned by anyone. The freehold is owned by anyone except non-citizens. Non-citizens cannot own land under freehold tenure. The advantages of freehold tenure is that when you have this freehold land title, you can sell it, you can bequeath it, meaning you can give it out in inheritance. In a will. You bequeath it to your children, you can give it as a gift intervival. You have a friend and you give it to them. That is the advantage of this freehold tenure. You can easily sell it because it dearly belongs to you. Then we have a customary tenure system. Now, this customary tenure system is the most common. The one now we have in most of the villages. If you see our grandfathers, most of them own this land in customary, by the way, because it's a society. You find out maybe a specific clan. That's why you see most of the clans settled in one place. You find a specific clan settled in this place, and that's how they've been. They've inherited it and passed on from generation to generation. Now, customary can also be for one person. One person can own their land. Maybe my father gives me the land in a will, or in any other way, a gift, he gives it to me. Now I can own it. Now, this mode of ownership of land, someone can sell it. You can sell it to someone as well. But now someone should be very cautious when they are buying such kind of land. What do? You require most of the key people who own that land to be signatories for you to have a clear document. Most times these lands are having agreements. You have purchase agreements for them. However, I think about in 2015, the government of the Republic of Uganda introduced titles for customary ownership. So people of customary ownership are also able to apply for independent titles. So they have titles in customary ownership of land. So meaning also their title becomes conclusive evidence of ownership, except in instances of fraud. Then we have another one, that is the Milo tenure system. Now, this Milo tenure system particularly is so common in the Buganda, that is central. We call it central Uganda. The areas of Masaka, Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono, that type of tenure is common amongst them. How does it come to play? This Milo tenure system came into play as a result of one, the 1900 Buganda Agreement and the 1928 Busule Mvujulo. So most of these people now own their land. However, in their land, there are people who have also settled there. That one that you hear people talking of Bibanja owners, those Bibanja owners are part of it. People buy these lands, but now you have to put into consideration the interest of those Bibanja owners. And most times it's encouraged that when the landlord, now the owner of the land, wants to sell the land, the first priority is given to the Kibanja holder. That's why we've seen most of the times these wrangles that side of Central, the Kibanja holders are complaining, the landlord wants to evict us, such kind of things. Their interest is put into play. And also in instances now where a government comes and maybe they want to make a development, any development on their land, they are also compensated because they have interest on that land. So the last one is the leasehold. Now this leasehold tenure is mostly encouraged. Now most of the people who own it are non-citizens. Just like I had earlier on said, the land in Uganda is vested. It's for the citizens, it's for the people of Uganda. That is what is stated under Article 237. Now, however, there are other people who are now not Ugandans, but they want to come, maybe some Indian or an Asian or any European, maybe wants to come in the country, have a development. Maybe he wants to construct a hotel in Arua. He doesn't have land. What is the best mode of ownership of land? Can't he buy land? The answer is yes. He can buy land, but he can only buy a lease type of land. He can own it in leasehold. Now, these leases are held in specific periods of time. A specific period of time. For example, you can sign, I am the landlady, I own my land. Then I give maybe Patel, an Indian who wants to construct maybe a Novich hospital in Arua. So I give him a lease, but I'll only give him maybe a lease of 5 years. We always have what we call a lease agreement. Now in this lease agreement, we agree on the mode of which the person is supposed to deal with my land. We have covenants and conditions and covenants. Now they are bound by those provisions of the covenants and the conditions that have been put on the lease agreements. They pay premium. Then in case their lease expires, they can be renewed. Now lease is a very wide topic that can be discussed to us independently. Now those are the various modes of which people can own land in this country, in our country, Uganda. The land dearly belongs to us. Now, on the issue of purchase that I didn't complete earlier on, which is the common way how all of us usually acquire land, purchase of land. Now, people need to be very, very careful while purchasing land. There are instances where you just get a piece of land. Someone tells you there is a piece of land in Onzivu, and for you rush, you just want to go and pay your money instantly. Now, there are instances where you're not going to know whether the person selling for you the land is the actual owner of the land. Whether the person selling for you the land owns that land independently or owns it as a family. Now there are provisions of other laws like section 38 and 39 of the Land Act. They interpret there is family land. The land is owned by the family. You may be buying land and the man had already has married his wife, and during the course of their marriage, they obtain this property. Now, the real procedure of the law is you need her to give consent in this purchase of this land. In an instance that you're going to buy this land without her consent, my dear brother and sister, one time if this woman wakes up, she can easily lodge a caveat. And when she lodges a caveat, they are going to find out that maybe during the process of you buying that land, you didn't conduct what we call due diligence. It's even worse if you involve us, the lawyers, by the way. It gets worse. That will even amount to professional misconduct, you see, because we are required to carry out thorough due diligence while helping clients in holding their matters. Now, what do you do if you want to buy land? Because it's the most common way in which all of us own land in the country. We buy. One, you do a search. If the land is titled, a search is a must. So that when any problem develops in future, Or maybe when matters are now going to court, you're able to present that you did all the necessary due diligence that now exempts you from the elements of fraud. Because when someone is going to prove fraud against you in court, they are going to say you neglected to do the search because probably you had an idea that the land does not belong to a person X that you wanted to buy. Now, if you do a search, when you're doing a search in the land registry, you're going to pay a required fee. Then you're going to submit these documents to them and they are going to be able to give you a report. Now, if the land belongs to a person, Tom, what is in the land office will reflect that the land belongs to Tom. So that is step number 1, you're done. You now know the land belongs to Tom. 2, you're now going to the ground. You're going to the ground where this land is. Are there neighbors? Now, go ahead and ask these neighbors. You're the immediate neighbor to this land. Who owns this land? You may even go ahead and get their people, caretakers on that land. Go ahead and ask them. Ask them who is the actual owner of this land. You see? Now, if you ask the actual owner of the land, you're totally exempting yourself from fraud. Whereby, if a matter now comes in court, you're able to know that you did every necessary step. You did the actual that is what we call actual notice. You did the constructive one. You did everything necessary. You found out. You even go ahead and check their national IDs and see if that is the name that you saw probably on the Ministry of Lands. Then if at all it is now, that is mostly for titled land. You need to go through all that, you carry out the search. But now for land that is not titled, go ahead. Ask him. Make sure you have all the key witnesses that you need. All the neighbors. All the neighbors can be your witnesses. Because now if you're buying, these neighbors will come and help you later in future. You make sure all of them are key witnesses. If the wife is there, why not? Let her be part of it so that she doesn't come later and lodge a caveat. Now, what can me, Yasmin, do in case someone has sold, or you've realized that they are buying my land? The land belongs to me, or it is our family land, or it is now customary land. Someone is buying the land, or someone has interest in buying the land. What do? Most of the times you see people putting buyer beware. That buyer beware is exempting, it's warning you that land that you are buying is probably there are other people who have interest in it. So you be aware so that the next time an alarm is caused, you know you are totally at fault. You ignored a key aspect that you should have followed that probably would protect you from buying land that probably belongs to a family or land that has conflicts. Then, okay, the land has been bought. What do? You're not going to leave it at that. 100 million has been paid. Now the man, our brother, has sold the land. You're not going to kill him. Lodge your dear caveat on it. There are various types of caveat. Today I will also not discuss caveats because it's also a wide area. You can lodge a caveat. It's an instrument that is put on land that if land has a title, dearly lodge your caveat on it. And this person will not do any kind of dealing. Not even a bank loan will he get with it. Because immediately you go to the bank will also do a search on your title to find out if this person has land and it is titled. Is there anything on the encumbrance page? With time we shall be discussing also titles, how to interpret those titles. A title is a document that is gotten when your land is fully, they've done the surveying, they've done all the necessary things that government does, and they put your mark stones, then they will be able to give you what is called a title. My colleagues or myself will be able to discuss for you how you can get the various titles, the customary title, the leasehold title, the freehold title, and the Milo title in case of the Buganda. Now, particularly, that is for the land. Now, in an instance that now you have issues with land, maybe your neighbor wants to enter a bit of the portion on your land. These matters are suable. We are sitting on matters, very important matters, and at a later time we realize problems have come. Now, what do you do in case of a land conflict? These matters are suable. Suable in what sense? They can be taken to court. Let court resolve these matters. You put matters where the land is located in Yumbe, Yumbe has a magistrate's court. Where it's in Koboko, Koboko has a magistrate's court. You don't carry a matter of Yumbe and bring it to Arua. No. These courts also have various jurisdiction. Jurisdiction in a sense that they have a limit of the matter they can hold. Like a magistrate's court handles matters of 20 million. Magistrate grade 1, 20 million below. So now if this land for land matters particularly, it handles matters of land that are civil customary in nature. Civil customary in nature. They don't exceed that one. What is civil customary in nature? These lands are not registered. Where immediately element of registration comes in, this land is titled, it falls under the Registration of Titles Act. This land goes to preferably most times, the higher court, which is the High Court. So these matters are suable. You sue and court gets to resolve some of these matters. If no, you sit and do mediations with people. Mediation is encouraged, because even when you go to court will not just instantly litigate the matter. Court will not just hear the matter and prosecute it instantly. They will go through the very first procedures, preliminaries. Mediation is part of it. They try to see if they can resolve this matter out of court, and mediation is dearly encouraged. Now, that is for us now, us the normal people within us, the normal people, our dealings, me and my neighbor, me and my sister, my brother came and bought his land, those are the dealings. But before I leave that element, there is another element I wanted to bring in, where people are not usually careful. My brother is in Dubai, he works in Dubai, now he sent me money, he wants to buy his land in Uganda. You dearly buy land in your name. Why must you buy land in your name? Now, even if you're not in Dubai, you can still buy land in the country. How do you do it? You make a document. You give authority. There's a document called a power of attorney. Now, you give powers of attorney to, for example, your brother. He can sign documents on your behalf. But now, usually, what we do, most of us, we have this. I want to call it lame trust we give people. You're lame trusting someone, you're telling them, you buy for me the land. How sure are you it's not in his name? How sure are you it's not in his name? It even gets hostile if there is a title. If he signs those transfer forms and submits them to land, by the time you litigate this matter, 2 years, 3 years, you're going to spend money. So some of these things we have to be careful. Yes, you can buy your land. You don't have to keep your money and wait until you're back in the area where you want to buy the land. If you're so busy, get powers of attorney, give them it's a document, standard 1 page, you can get a smart power of attorney, give it to someone who you trust, or that person who you wanted to buy for you the land. They're able to buy you the land. You have it in your name and they've signed it for you. Now that is how you can own land. That is ownership of land. Most of us purchase it. Some of us inherit it. If you inherit it, it's also smart. It's very good. Most of the customary land, by the way, most of customary ownership, those lands are inherited. If you ask me about my grandparents, I will tell you they don't have agreements of the land they own. But the land belongs to them. They've stayed in the land for over 100-something years. The great grandparents were there, the others, generations have passed, about 3. Then our fathers also come and inherit. The father also gives it to us, we inherit, like that. So that mode is also there in existence. Before running to court, the other things we should be so careful about, the period within which people stay on those lands of ours. There is a limitation of land transaction. You buy your land, you abandon it there, a person stays on it for 12 years uninterrupted. That is an adverse possessor. The bad news would be that it's very hard for you to get that person out, because that person is also entitled. They also get titles, by the way. Adverse possessors get titles. You leave them adamantly. If you give them to sit on your land, it's better if you give them authority, showing them that probably with time you will get to remove them. Because I've met people who have stayed on land for 30 years and they want to move away because they will tell you openly, the land doesn't belong to me. These people just helped me. I settled on the land. So you make them in the know. But you're in the know, you're ignoring people, you're leaving people to stay on land. That's how people are getting to grab other people's lands, by the way. You see? Those are adverse possessors. Those ones you cannot remove them. So now those are the modes people own land. Adverse possession, those people who come and settle on your land and they refuse to go away. Purchase, and then inheritance. Those are the various modes. Now we are coming to government. Does government, I own my land. The Constitution under Article 237 says the land belongs to us, it is ours, it's my land. Assuming they now want to make maybe roads. Government wants to construct maybe a telecommunication mast for defense or security purposes. The suitable place is my land. What do? Article 29 of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda now goes in to say there is an element of compulsory acquisition of land. The government can compulsorily acquire someone's land. On what instances? 1, security. If the thing is to benefit security, the reason as to why they want to acquire, they will acquire. But I'll explain how. Then 2, on instances of public interest, public use. They want to make roads maybe. Koboko Arua Yumbe, they want to make that road. My land is amongst the parts that are fallen on it. So what should government first do before taking use of your land? Various cases have been put on court suing the government. Government is sued through the Attorney General, that is its legal representative. What should government do? The law states that there must be adequate compensation given to the person whose land has been tampered with. Before even government gets to start their road, they must compensate that person. So before government starts anything, they first identify those places where the land is going to fall prey or victim, and they get to notify. If we are keen one of these days on televisions and other social media platforms, you've seen government trying to advertise and announce the person is going to be affected by the construction of the standard gauge railway that is from, I think, Malaba, coming from Kenya to bringing it to Kampala. So there are people who are affected. But now government hasn't yet started those developments. They first have to compensate those people. The word is adequate compensation. What amounts to adequate compensation is to their interpretation. What do they do first? They bring their government valuer. They value my land. They share them with us. They share with us the valued costs, and you're able to see your compensation tokens. But usually these tokens are reasonable enough. At least you can get your another land somewhere and even construct and even buy a car probably. So that is how only government is supposed to get your land. Meaning if government at any point gets your land and doesn't compensate you, it is suable. Government can be sued. It is sued in courts of law because it is the provision of the Constitution that says the land belongs to me. Now you're only going to get it through Article now 29. But you need to give me adequate prior compensation to your acquisition of land. So basically today I think that's what I can present on land ownership and the various modes in which we can own land. And now if government wants to tamper with my ownership, I bought my land, I inherited my land, I have even people with leases, by the way, have interests. I have my lease, it is still valid. Government will have to come and look at me. They have the people call it golden handshakes. They need to have these golden handshakes to make sure people don't mourn for their property. So my various colleagues will be able to take us through also very many aspects. There are very many aspects of law. Family, there is criminal, we may need to know something about in criminal, but land being the biggest, and the fact that now we have the city status, there are various developments in all corners. People are buying and selling land. So whoever is buying land, be careful. Do all the necessary due diligence before you get these pieces of land. Else, you will not survive. You will not hide. The law states that there is a maxim in the law that says he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. So you must have very clean hands before you run to the courts of law. So you will not hide. So let's do all the necessary due diligence before getting these lands. For purchasing from the families, be careful when you're buying from the families, and yeah, we shall own our property as the Constitution states in Article 237. That has been Yasmin from Buga and Company Advocates for today, taking us through land dealings and land ownership and the various tenures. Thanks for watching. Have the best of your day.